Hi, Nightlight. Hi, everybody. Really good to be here. I am Freya of Freya Astrology, and I'm really excited to share about some transits with you today that are taking place late June, early July. So we have had some dynamic astrology, to say the least, over the last few months, and it continues. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Here we go. So I'm going to share the chart. Here we go. So hopefully you can all see this now. The chart for the 29th of June 2024. I've set this to my current time zone in the UK. So the transits I'm talking about are taking place just after midnight. But if you're in the US, this could be happening late on the 28th of June. And so one of these really interesting, I thought we'd start with like a bit of a funny one. I say funny just because I feel like it could present itself in a kind of frustrating, but also like niggly, like not too annoying way, just a bit of a kind of like, oh, that was a bit of a bad moment of my day. And the transit that we're going to be talking about is Mercury in Cancer over here at 23 degrees of Cancer, in square aspect to Chiron in Aries at 23 degrees of Aries. And so we've got two cardinal signs chatting away to each other here through a square, which is the nature of Mars. We've got Chiron in the sign of Mars, so we've got some extra Marsy nature going on, a lot of energy going towards the kind of action and the aggravation of Mars. And then we've got Mercury in Cancer, which is quite gentle and is going to be moving its energy and its expression through the moon on a day when the moon is also in Aries. So I feel like we could be easily moved to explosive expressions, perhaps just kind of snapping back at people, stubbing our toe on the street. You know, it's warmer summer months, so we're wearing flip-flops, walking down the street, and then all of a sudden we stump our toe and we're like, oh, you know, and the verbal expression of this could be a really angry expletive, and then like, you know, sudden tears, but then getting angry at ourselves for crying in public or something like that. You know, the moon is very changeable, so this could be a transient thing. It's annoying that we stub our toe, but you know, it's going to move on by the end of the day. You know, bringing Chiron into the mix, which is much more the aspect that we're talking about, is the fact that it's almost like, you know, when you stub your toe on the street, or perhaps you create a blister, because we're talking about Mercury in a water sign and Chiron in a Mars sign. So like that friction of walking in the flip-flops, perhaps it's a brand new pair of flip-flops, and the little post that goes between your toe is really starting to aggravate the skin between your big toe and the next toe along. And this causes the Mars energy, or this kind of creates the Mars energy. And with Mercury being like the details of the situation, the information of the situation in the sign of Cancer, which is this water sign, it's like that friction can create a blister that builds in between our big toe and the next toe. And it, you know, it fills with water over the time. And just get like, it takes us into this place of like feeling, you know, how did I feel when I was a child and I got blisters? Was it okay for me to feel sad about this? You know, because we're thinking about Chiron in Aries, right? So that kind of childhood wounding of, you know, of self-expression. Is it safe? Is it okay? Am I being too outwardly angry? How does this look on the surface? That kind of feeling. Is it okay that I feel sad and that I'm a bit pissed off that I've got this blister forming between my toes, even though I really love my new pair of flip-flops? And, you know, and we're talking about this cardinal energy of cardinal water and cardinal fire. Like, I want to begin. That's the cardinal energy. I want to begin. I want to take my new flip-flops out for a walk, and yet they're causing me some pain. So yeah, lots of energy around, how am I feeling? How am I communicating how I feel to the world around me? Am I feeling like, because Mercury's in Cancer, that I'm trying to keep all of this to myself? It's a very lunar thing. It's quite a private thing sometimes. Or am I feeling more of this Chiron energy in this wounding in the sign of Aries, where I'm just fully feeling like, I'm just going to express what I want to express. I'm not going to think first. I'm just going to speak. I'm just going to take action. I'm just going to stamp my foot and pop the blister, and it's going to go all over the street and make everything 10 times worse. Something along those lines. And bearing in mind that, with Chiron and Aries is an energy that we've been working with since April of 2023. Because the eclipses have been here. So the North Node's been in Aries, South Node in Libra, directly opposite over here. And the North Node in Aries is all about this sense of like energy going towards what is my self-expression? How is it okay to be myself, or is it not okay to be myself? And what situations am I finding myself in where I am responding before thinking about it, responding in that childlike, innocent way, that pure kind of unapologetic sense of self-expression that we have in childhood, that, as we grow and develop, society and, nature, nurture, all of our surroundings, our environment, and the people that we spend time with kind of start to gradually build their own expectations around that, until we can sometimes feel fairly separate from that sense of self-expression. And so we're learning, and much more, just to rewind, much more in that South Node Libra, exactly opposite the North Node in Aries right now. We've learned over the time how to make things societally acceptable. How am I supposed to behave when I'm in this situation, meeting these friends, or how am I supposed to behave in relationships? Or it's all about this supposed to, as opposed to I just am, and that is me, and that's okay. I deserve to be here. I deserve to exist. Okay, so I am just going to check that we are still recording, because my little program likes to tell me that we're not sometimes. Okay, and then we're going to move into the 3rd of July. Do you know, I should have started timing myself. I haven't. Let's hope my 10 minutes isn't up. And I'm just going to check my notes. So 3rd of July, this is for midnight local time where I am in the UK, but obviously this could be happening a bit earlier if you're in the US, or a bit later if you're in Australia or New Zealand. Yeah, so this is another interesting one. We've got Mercury moving into the sign of Leo, or it has done just the day before, actually on the 2nd of July, because we've got Mercury and Leo here at 0 degrees and 43 minutes. So Mercury is all about how we're, making conversations with people. It's very creative, it's very colorful, it's being really playful about how we have conversations. It's playful about our activities, right? So 3rd of July, most people are kind of getting into that summertime vibe. It's possibly the school summer holidays. People are taking their, holiday time away from work and away from their homes, and they're getting out there and they're exploring and they're having fun, and they're kind of opening our hearts. I say they, we are opening our hearts up to this massive sense of love and enjoyment and creativity, possibly spending more time with children or with loved ones. And we're thinking about, how can I make the details of my life for the next, few weeks, whilst Mercury is in Leo, much more heart-centered, as opposed to feeling-centered, as we've had Mercury in Cancer for the last few weeks prior to this date. So as soon as Mercury moves into Leo, it creates an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. And this is the first time we've had this transit take place since Pluto's been in Aquarius, because it didn't quite happen last year due to the retrograde when Pluto went back into Capricorn. So this is the first time we're experiencing this. So I always think, when it's the first time we're experiencing something, when it comes to transits or aspects, that we need to remember and, play on repeat this idea of grace. Give ourselves grace. love, lots of love, because, you know, Mercury is in the sign of love. It's the sign of Leo. And, you know, let's think generously about ourselves as well as other people. And so Mercury opposite Pluto in the sign of in Saturn's sign in the sign of Aquarius. Again, this is kind of similar to what we were just talking about earlier, but it's the sense of, you know, we think about the sun being in Leo, being able to shine its light and just purely express from this kind of unafflicted place. And then we think about Aquarius being the opposite sign to Leo, and the sign of Saturn, and it's cool and it's kind of dark and it's limited and it's like, I can't possibly express that thing. So there could be lots of feelings around big conversations that need to take place, or big feelings, but we're kind of trying to put limitations around those feelings so that you know, because Pluto's in this Saturn ruled sign of Aquarius, as much as we want to think about ourselves with Mercury in Leo, it might feel quite difficult during this fairly quick transit of Mercury, you know, because Aquarius is very much about humanity. It's about the masses, and it's about, you know, the power of the masses. I feel like this could be, you know, if we were going to talk about, you know, global events, this could be a strong day for activism. But thinking about natal astrology, this could be a really powerful day for, let's think about it both ways. It could be a powerful day where it's really difficult to kind of learn how to express ourselves to other people, and that we find we're, you know, stumbling over our words, much like I am right now. Maybe I need to take a breath. I'm going to check my notes. Yeah, we're just, excuse me. We are stumbling over our words and just finding it difficult to express ourselves. And that is taking us to some deep kind of inner reflective space, where we can't help but think of ourselves as part of the whole, as opposed to just me, myself. You know, it's almost like, I'm going to go to the beach today with my kids. I want to buy everybody else an ice cream, you know, very Aquarius. Let's make sure that everybody's got an ice cream. But actually, do I deserve the ice cream? Is it all right for me to have the ice cream, or am I going to kind of hold back and I'm going to give generously? But then later on that evening, I'm going to sit there on my sofa and I'm going to think to myself, like, I really wish I got the ice cream, you know? And especially, you know, because we've got the Sun and Venus in, just so saying, we were talking about Mercury in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius, that we're making sure that everybody else is sorted. Aquarius, humanitarian, I'm going to give generously because Mercury is in the sign of Leo. I'm going to give generously. I'm going to buy everybody else an ice cream. But I'm actually going to not buy myself one, because actually the thought of eating the ice cream is kind of bringing up a lot of this inner kind of shadow energy, that, you know, very Pluto energy, this like kind of bring up all our fears. You know, perhaps there's something around eating disorders here, and it's bringing up a lot of emotions around, you know, what it is to eat the ice cream, hold the ice cream, smell the ice cream, that kind of thing, just as an example. And, you know, typically we're thinking about ice cream, we're thinking about food and nourishment because it's Cancer season. So the Sun's in Cancer, Venus is in Cancer. The things that we want are really nice nourishment. Ice cream is typical Cancer food. You know, it's very creamy, cream and dairy products, you know, very lunar, very Cancerian kind of food, because it's literally taking us back to that kind of mum's milk, mum's nourishment, that first nutrients we get when we're first born, you know, from our primary caregivers, possibly the mother, possibly breastfeeding, possibly formula milk, you know, these various kinds of, it's all based around milk, and kind of emphasizing that milk, making that milk really creamy and delicious and kind of quality, which is, you know, what Leo is all about. Leo likes a nice quality, you know, top notch, with a cherry on top, with a chocolate flake in there as well. But then later on, you know, we get home from the beach, we've had the ice cream, we're sitting on the sofa, and then we just sit there and we kind of obsess. That's quite a Pluto word. We obsess about the fact that we restricted. That can be quite a Pluto thing. Like, I will not allow myself to have that thing. that we restricted this idea of like, no, I'm not going to have an ice cream. I'm just going to buy one for everybody else, and I'm going to really enjoy, you know, the feelings that I get from being able to give generously. Actually, now I'm really pissed off that I didn't just get myself an ice cream, and then, you know, we find ourselves going down the road, buying a tub of ice cream and, you know, eating it alone in secret. That would be another Pluto thing. Eating the ice cream alone in secret later on that evening to kind of make up for the fact that we missed out on the ice cream. So I'm going to come back to my screen now before it kicks me off again. I'm going to stop presenting. There we go. Okay, so thanks so much for listening to this month's astrology, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.